Ladies and gentlemen, this is not your normal intro for Studio 2009. This is episode 64. We are celebrating the 30th anniversary of Batman Mask of the Phantasm, and it is dedicated to the memory of Kevin Conroy, because we are releasing this on November 30th, 2023, which is 1 year and 20 days since he passed away. He died November 10th, 2022, and thank you, Kevin, for everything.
Yep.
Hi, this is Kevin Conroy, and you're listening to the Geekcast Radio Network. This is Kevin Conroy, and I am the goddamn Batman.
There is nothing wrong with your podcast player. Do not attempt to adjust the volume. Hello and welcome back into our studio. You are now inside Studio 2009. I'm, of course, TFG1Mike. Joining me is Steve Megatron. Hello, sir.
Hello.
Yes, and once again, 2 weeks in a row, not necessarily 2 weeks in a row, but 2 episodes in a row, we are going back 30 years ago to 1993. And some people would be like, TFG1Mike, why are you releasing this on the anniversary of Kevin Conroy's birthday instead of the anniversary of when the movie actually premiered in theaters? I'm like, because it's more emotional doing it this way. Because Batman Mask of the Phantasm released Christmas Day 1993 in theaters. Ouch. In this movie, man, the besides it being the 30th anniversary, I've had this on Vudu for the longest time, but on September 12th of this year, they released a 4K Ultra HD with digital code version. So the original standard version I've had on Vudu for years, that got upgraded to 4K automatically with the digital code.
That's awesome.
But yeah, I had to buy this because I have a 4K TV, I have a 4K Blu-ray player. I needed to see that, and I have pictures, and I'm sure I'll link to my Facebook photo album, or I might even embed the pictures in the post on geekcastradio.com. I took pictures of this as I'm watching it on my large-ass TV that I have, and man, this film has never looked so good. You have got to invest, dude. When you can. I know it's hard, but when you can, you have to invest in 4K.
I don't know if my TV even supports 4K.
That's what I'm saying. You have to invest.
I don't buy a TV. Like, I buy a TV once every, 7 to 10 years.
Well, it's been 7 or 10 years, right?
I bought one a year or two ago.
Well,
it may be 4K. I'm not exactly sure. I'd have to look up the specs. It's a Sony, so I'm assuming it would.
Okay.
I'd have to look it up and see what model it is. But yeah. I do not have a 4K player unless I was to get a digital file and plug it into the TV. But
yeah.
I saw this film the week it came out. I legitimately remember going with my dad to see this in theater.
That's awesome.
And it was spectacular. I remember watching it, and I was aware of some of the murderous antics of everything.
Mm-hmm.
But, the Joker and whatnot. But I enjoyed seeing Batman on the big screen. And honestly, this was probably the best origin and delving into Bruce Wayne that we've ever gotten.
100%.
And it was something that this crew just got. They just understood it.
Yep.
We didn't have to deal with any of the oddities of just whatever. Like they simply understood the assignment.
Yep. 100%. And this movie predates Superman the Animated Series, which happened in 1996, which means Batman had Lois first. Even though her character is not Lois in this. Bruce Timm, Eric Radomski, Martin Pascoe, Paul Dini, Alan Burnett, Michael Reeves, all the people that worked on this. Batman by Bob Kane and Bill Finger, obviously. Shirley Walker did the music back then. Absolutely loved it. It eventually made money, but initially didn't. It had a budget of $6 million, and the theatrical run only got it $5.6 million. So technically, it didn't succeed at first, but it has succeeded over the last 30 years because there have been so many different versions of it that have been released, and now we finally have this 4K disc version of it. And everyone knows the plot of this movie. Like you said, it's basically Bruce Wayne's origins. We see Bruce and Andrea. Andrea. I love when Kevin used to do that. And half the time when he used to do that, he was sitting right next to voice director Andrea Romano. So that was always so funny to me.
Double entendre. I did find out I do have a 4K TV.
Good.
Yeah, it's LED 4K Ultra HD. So
awesome.
Yeah, I can watch it.
Good.
Yeah.
So now
I just have to get it.
Mm-hmm. Now all you need to do is invest in the disc and invest in a player if you don't have a player. Because 2 years ago, right after Karen passed, I went to, of all places, Walmart, and I got a Sony 4K Blu-ray player for like $150 at the time. It was holiday time, so it was on sale. But yeah, I've had that thing for 2 years now. I'm never getting rid of that. So yeah, the 4K Blu-ray players are not super expensive anymore. So that's good. But yeah, I mean, you got Kevin Conroy, Mark Hamill, Dana Delaney, Hart Bachner, Stacy Keach as wow. Oh, that's right. Stacy, what? Okay. So Stacy Keach, for those that may not know, he's the guy that did the narration on the CNBC American Greed true crime series. He was also the voice of Robert Vance Sr. in Batman Beyond. He was in that episode Lost Soul. He was the guy that put his consciousness into the Batman Beyond suit. So that was him, but he's the voice of Phantasm in this. And I was like, I always wondered who did that. Abe Vigoda as Salvatore Valestra, Dick Miller as Chucky Saul, Ephraim Zimbalist Jr. as Alfred, obviously Bob Hastings as Commissioner James Gordon, Robert Costanzo as Detective Harvey Bullock, Arlene Sorkin as Mrs. Bambi. Oh, she was uncredited in this. That's right. Interesting. But yeah, this movie is so fun. It's so good. From the themes of it to the music to the origin to everything with this one, I just absolutely love it all.
What's one of your favorite characters?
In this, it has to be the Phantasm. I
love the appearance of the Phantasm, and then the fact that it's Andrea underneath the costume the entire time.
Andrea. you said the director's name at the end of that like it was, post-coital bliss. And the place, there was this hesitation by all these actors. And then everyone just cracked up. Everyone just roared. They couldn't believe what I had done. And then we look in the booth and like Andrea is just on like this, Everyone was just. And then she said, "That's going on my holiday reel, Kevin."
And I love the ambience and the fact that this one makes Batman look like, he's no big deal. Because it truly puts fear. They're like, you're no bat. And then they like realize that this thing is like a lot freakier than Batman.
Yep.
Even though Batman's more agile.
Yeah. Oh, well, the scene where he goes after the guys on the motorcycle in the beginning when the motorcycle gang kind of just like bumps into them when they're on the street. And she's like, Bruce, let it go. He's like, no, they have to, like, he's running after this motorcycle, jumps, lands on the front wheel of the thing and kicks the guy. I'm like, wow, okay, Bruce Wayne, you go, boy. Like, and that was before he became Batman. My favorite moment outside of the moments with the Phantasm has got to be the origin of the cave and how they found the cave. That is never, to that point, I don't think anyone other than 66, which it's just under their house, fine. But like, there was never a true origin of how Bruce Wayne found the Batcave, to my knowledge. Comic book fans, come at me. I'm sorry if it was done in the comics, but in animation to that point, because Batman animated series was brand new. We knew he had the Batcave, but we never saw until now how he found it. And that is such a nice nod to do that, to give more origin to it.
Yeah, my favorite character in this is still Batman. It gave me an appreciation for the Phantasm, but it also the Joker.
Mm-hmm.
But it was also the first time I heard the Joker. Yes, he was creepy. Like, I get it.
Yeah.
But he wasn't as creepy as the Jack Nicholson.
No.
Like, the live action Batman films, like, I love Keaton as the live action Batman.
Mm-hmm. I
think that they did him wrong in The Flash, but, whatever. They also did some things right with him. But I don't like any of the villains in any of the live action Batman movies. Like they're like, and I get it. They're supposed to look realistic, so they do, and they're super creepy about it. But I like how Hamill plays this character.
Yeah.
He's not. I don't know. It's the voice. It's the way that he carries himself when he plays the role. Just a lot of things in general. It plays out well. But I love the fact that you have this basically like trinity of battle going on between, Batman hunting the Joker and thinking the Joker's behind all this, and the Batman hunting, the Phantasm hunting the Joker. And so you've got this weird like battle royale of these three.
Yep.
That are collectively taking out everybody.
Yeah, pretty much.
In their path.
Yep.
And then it leaves off the end of the film not seeing a body for any of them.
Nope.
So it's alluded to that they all survived, and then of course, you get the animated series, but
yeah.
Which I think came out before this released.
Yeah, animated series was September of 92, yeah.
Yeah, so like this was recorded around the same time. They just Hamill already had his Joker legs on him, so he was still learning it when he first got into the cartoon, but then when this film came, he was already ingrained, like he was a pro at it. But I like that. I think they brought back Andrea in Justice League, didn't they? Or Unlimited?
They might have mentioned her. What they did, I know what they did do though in the comics. Kyle Higgins brought her back in his Batman Beyond 2.0 run, because one of those arcs is called Mark of the Phantasm. We interrupt this program to bring you an editor's note from me, TFG1Mike. Yes, the Phantasm was featured in Justice League Unlimited Epilogue because Amanda Waller used Andrea as the potential assassin who was going to kill Terry's parents. That didn't happen, though. But yes, the Phantasm is in Justice League Unlimited. Now back to our regularly scheduled program. So, as a play on Mask the Phantasm.
So I play with the headcanon that she survived and she's just letting, just staying out of the way. And then, of course, we know the Joker survived because he gets ultimately taken out by Robin number 2, Tim Drake. And then taken out by Terry McGinnis.
Yep.
So yeah, I thoroughly enjoyed this film. This and Return of the Joker are probably my two favorite Bat films of all time.
Yeah, I will agree with that. Absolutely.
And this, of course, is my number one favorite, just because you get Bruce and all of his full on, total set of emotions, total backstory. You get, all the things he wishes he could do, all the things that he's stuck doing. Yep. He's taken on this perilous mission and does it because of all of the evil that's been done to him.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, it's out of all the animated Batman movies they've done, I will say that this and Return of the Joker are the two best. Do I still enjoy Sub-Zero? Yes. Do I still enjoy some of the DC original animated movies that they've done? Yes, because they're adapting comics for that. That's different. As far as the DC animated universe goes, this is top tier, and Return of the Joker is top tier. I'm probably going to watch Return of the Joker more than I rewatch this, but like I said, I had the technology. The announcement was made that this was coming out September 12th of this year. I'm like, pre-order immediately, because I already knew I could play it. I already knew I could have, and as soon as just watching it on a 55-inch television is just amazing. And it's pretty much, it's formatted to screen, so it's not like, you're having there are a little bit of black bars, but not many, because it is what it is. But just absolutely love this. This is the only version I need. This is the only if they do any more versions of it, I don't need any more. This is the only one I need. I've had it on VHS in the past. I had it on DVD in the past. Like I said, I've had the standard definition version on Vudu for years. Now that I've got this upgraded to that, and it's just so good. It looks great. It sounds great. Everything. And then before we get into what else is on this disc, because that's another reason, unless you can find it on YouTube, which I'm sure you can, that's another reason why you need this, is because the only bonus feature on this is the Kevin Conroy, I Am the Knight. And it's a spotlight on Kevin and everything he did with the role. And it's things we've heard him say all the time before. But you were asking earlier about if Phantasm returned at all anywhere, and I found the in the Batman Beyond Unlimited and Batman Beyond Universe digital comics from 2012 to 2015, there was an arc called Mark of the Phantasm. The story takes place a year before the current events and explains what led Terry to leave Bruce after a night fending off the Jokers. Batman and Vigilante go their separate ways. During the fight, Vigilante's blood was spilled on the scene and collected by the police, blah, 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 blah. Terry goes to Dick and Barbara after his talk with Bruce, and yeah, so she eventually shows up and all that, and they actually bring in I believe they bring in Jake Chill. I think, if I've got, JT and I did a whole pullback episode on this, so people can go back and check that out. But yeah,
as far as celebrities go, There's no bigger Batman celebrity than Kevin Conroy.
But that special feature, if you haven't seen it yet, you need to watch it because, oh man, just it basically is a highlight for Kevin Conroy. And just, it's so good. I know we've been praising this thing up and down, folks, and
well, it's hard not to praise this film.
Yeah, and it's hard. For me, it's really hard to explain.
And there's so many people we've lost that are in it.
Mm-hmm. Which is going to be a future Geekcast Radio episode
including the animated series.
Oh, yeah.
And it sucks watching it because you're like, oh, I remember them. But I'm finding that with, and we mentioned this in another show, another episode.
Yep.
Discussing Robin Hood Men in Tights. Like, the older we get, the more these people that we grew up watching and everything we were in, they're all passing away, they're all dying, they're all, some illness has gotten them. It's sad, and I mean, it's a fact of life. Everybody has to move on, but it sucks because it means you're never getting something out of them again unless you're, like Robin Williams, and they recorded extra hours and hours of stuff that was unusable at the time, but they found a way to use it now.
Yeah.
So
yeah, 100%, and it's just one of those things where, I forget if it was this year or a couple years, I wrote a blog post about expressing grief over the loss of celebrities, or, we don't know these people personally, but we know their work. We know the entertainment that they've given us, and that's what affects us. That's why we're sad. Generally we're sad when anyone dies, because that's just a sad thing, but we got a chance. God damn it. I'm going to lose my shit. In 2012, you and I got a chance to talk to Kevin Conroy, and
I know, I wish we would have got him back.
Probably one of the greatest moments we had to that point. And I had asked a few times over the years since then to get him back, but we never did. And it is what it is.
And then after you had gone to do some cooking duties after the 9/11 tragedy to help out in New York. You want to tell that story?
You want me to tell that story?
Sure.
It's got a lot of foul language in it. Should I clean it up?
No, that's fine.
Oh, we are so explicit here at the Geekcast Radio Network.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Okay. Well, I live in New York. And after the attack, everyone wanted to help. I mean, the thing that was amazing, you always see those pictures of everyone running away from the buildings as they were coming down with the covered with soot. But what you don't see any pictures of is everyone running back. As soon as the dust cleared, people started running back to try and, help people. And so I called, there was a number set up. Everyone was being told to go to the Javits Convention Center, and that's where they were coordinating the volunteers. So I went to the Javits Center, and they already had everybody they needed. They had such a huge turnout. They said, look, we've got everyone we need. We have all the tunnelers. We have all the diggers. We have overwhelmed with volunteers. We don't need anybody. So I was feeling so dejected. I was on my way home thinking, what am I going to do? I want to help. And I stopped off at a coffee shop, and there was a guy there covered with dust who had just come from Ground Zero and said, he was talking to the waitress about how he was working in a kitchen there. And I said to him, this total stranger, I said, I just came from the volunteer place. They told me they didn't need anybody anymore. He said, do you really want to volunteer? I said, yeah. So he wrote down this phone number. He said, call this number. They need people. This is the kitchen at Ground Zero. So I called them up, and they said that they did need people. And they said, do you have any restaurant experience? I said, I'm an actor. Of course I have restaurant experience. What do you need? Actors can do anything in a restaurant. They said, well, we really need cooks. I said, well, I worked in a short order cook when I was going through Juilliard. They said, are you free now? And I said, yeah, I'm between jobs. They said, no, we mean right now, like tonight. We need someone tonight. I said, yeah, I'll be right there. So I ended up doing the night shift. So it was like from 6 p.m. to about 6 a.m. And it was a few blocks away from the actual pit. But it was a big cafeteria that they had commandeered. It was a restaurant, I think, called Nino's. It was a big old restaurant. And they had taken it over, and all the work crews would come in, covered with dust and soot, just exhausted. And it was a very hot September. So it was really it was a very depressing atmosphere. And there were these huge work lights set up all over Lower Manhattan, setting it up. It looked like a moonscape, because it was a big search site. And people would come in, and there was just this sort of rumbling kind of melancholy mumble going on, because, everyone was so overwhelmed by what had happened. And I was working this night shift, and this guy who was next to me one night goes, "So I'm an architect during my day job. What's your day job?" I said, "Well, I'm an actor." He said, "Yeah, but do you do some special kind of acting?" He said, "I thought I knew your name." I said, "Well, I really work in animation. I do voices." He said, "I knew it. You're Batman." I said, "How did you know that?" He said, "Everybody knows who's Batman." I said, "No, everyone does not know who's Batman." He said, "Oh, my God, the guys are going to go crazy if I tell them that." I said, "No one's going to care." He said, "Are you crazy?" He said, "Watch." So he goes out in the dining room, and he goes, guys, you're not going to believe who's been cooking your dinners. It's Batman." And there was this long pause, and you hear it from the back of the auditorium, "Bullshit." And then someone else says, "Make him prove it." So I'm back in the kitchen, right, in this big echoey kitchen, and I do, "I am vengeance. I am the night. I am Batman." And then there's this long, long silence. You hear from the back of the auditorium, "Holy fuck, that is Batman." And they all start pouring back into the kitchen, and suddenly you hear this laughter. And this guy's like, "Hey, that episode where you and the Joker, I watch that show all the time with my kids. And, hey, man, what's that Danish lady like?" And everyone wanted to know everything about the show. And then the guy who had recognized me, the architect, says, "What's it like to be Santa Claus?" Because that's what happened. Santa Claus just got here. And it was true. It was like suddenly people had something else to think about, Yeah. And so I emailed Andrea the next morning at Warner Brothers, and I told her what had happened that night. I wrote it all as a story. And I said at the end of it, what we do is not insignificant. We're already contributing. And she said she circulated that all around Warner Brothers. She said everybody at Warner Brothers loved that story.
Yeah. It's just an amazing story. Because, a lot of, and that goes to sometimes we will ask a question of, do you get recognized, on this? Because a lot of times voice actors, in person don't get recognized unless, you're at a convention and a big sign says, "Hey, this is Kevin Conroy voice." I
assumed this would be a completely anonymous job. And for many years it was. In the early 90s, no one knew what I was doing. It was when the internet developed, and you could just Google someone's name and then get the picture, and suddenly everyone knew who was Batman. It's really since the internet that people know who's doing what. And for many, many years, it was completely anonymous, and I was used to it that way. I kind of liked it that way, actually.
That interview, that conversation. Especially the way and I know he had told this story before to other people, but the way he tells his September 11th story to us is my favorite version of how he tells that story. Just because it is so good. People, go back and listen to that interview. If you want to, go back and listen to me and Steve and Jesse. Right after Kevin died, we did a tribute to him last year on Geekcast Radio. You can listen to that. Mask of the Phantasm, I would recommend this to anybody. I don't care who they are, superhero fan or not. If you want to get into superheroes, the line starts here and goes around the block as far as animation goes.
Yeah, I miss it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Looking back, there's some people that we've interviewed that I wish we would have got back for a second time before they passed, just to pick their brain, because they've played a big part on how a lot of us grew up.
Absolutely, 100%. 100%. Easily, I don't even need to ask Steve. I'm pretty sure both of us are going to give this a 5 out of 5 because
if there were things wrong with it, I'm too colorblinded by nostalgia and the fact that I get involved in the film and I don't feel like fast forwarding. So
and I even watched every single detail. I watched it 2 or 3 times to see if there was anything in this movie, that is like either plot wise or whatever, and there really is nothing to nitpick on it. It's a damn good movie that should have made way more money than what it did initially. Obviously, over the last 30 years, it's made its money back, but yeah, go watch this movie, folks. Go over to Amazon, get the 4K version of it, and you will watch this movie like you've never seen it before. So we are going to go to a quick ad break. You're going to hear some ads and some other stuff. We're going to come back to close the show right after this.
It sort of started a tradition. The following week, I had another big fight. I was like, Joker, I'll get you. And then we heard from the booth, and then you say, oh, Andrea. And anyone who was new that week would be like, what is going on here? And it got to be a thing going on and on and on. And it was a lot of fun. And it was a sort of an ongoing gag in the studio.
Because the world needs another movie podcast.
The Geekcast Radio Network presents for your listening pleasure, The Cinema Geek.
Hosted by Amanda, Kevin, Matt, and Dan.
Each week we dive headfirst in the landscape of movies as we discuss movie news, play movie games,
go in-depth on reviews,
and even have a top 10 countdown or two.
Also, don't miss our director retrospective series, where we review noted directors' movies film by film. Bottom line is, if you love movies and love podcasts, you need to experience The Cinema Geeks.
You can find us on iTunes, Blog Talk Radio, or GeekCastRadio.com.
Like science fiction? Of course you do, or you wouldn't be listening to the Geekcast Radio Network. Well, the Mark Who 42's Universe podcast is an award-winning sci-fi radio show that's been around for over 10 years. We cover everything from Doctor Who to the MCU to pop culture and everything in between. A new show drops on Tuesday mornings on the GCRN website and all of the major podcast platforms. So listen to the Mark Who 42's Universe podcast from the universe and beyond.
Well, I am shocked and dismayed. Well, now you can't be both. You be shocked, I'll be dismayed.
Coming in 2016, Steve Megatron and myself, TFG1Mike, bring you a brand new TV review show. Welcome to Podcaster Meets World. That's right, we're launching a Boy and Girl Meets World review podcast here on the GCRN. It'll take us 70 episodes of the podcast to review all 158 episodes of Boy Meets World. After that, we will tackle Girl Meets World. You can find Podcaster Meets World on GeekCastRadio.com and iTunes starting late summer, early fall 2016. So come on and walk through the world with us.
I love the thing they call.
We are back, folks, for Studio 2009, Tooncast, and Legends of the Dark Knight, because I'm putting this on all three feeds, even though I didn't say that at the beginning of the show. That's what I'm doing. Coming up on Tooncast, I don't know. Coming up on Studio 2009, I do know what we've got going on. We will have a podcast approach next time, because by the time people have heard this episode, it's way past Halloween, so I'm going to have to do the You Frady Cat It's Halloween candy-coated commercials next year, which is fine because we ran out of time for that this year. Episode 66 returns with the 12 months of Star Wars content. That's just what the name of the thing is. We usually do one episode of Star Wars stuff every month for 12 months. And my buddy Dave Draper, formerly with Toy World Order, and Jason Duvall, his best friend, he has returned. And we are going through Star Wars in chronological order. And next up is Revenge of the Sith. After that, Mike Laidman is going to join me for the 25th anniversary of Metal Gear Solid. And then Dave will be back for Jurassic Park's 30th anniversary, as I mentioned at the beginning of the show. And we've got other stuff coming as well. We've got more podcast approaches. And next year, Studio 2009 will be going full retro, all retro all the time. And we're going to do a whole bunch of awesome old stuff, because some of these new shows, and the other thing that I didn't mention in the last time when we talked about Robin Hood Men in Tights, when we were talking about this, a lot of the new stuff doesn't get a chance to get us hooked. Like, it'll get 2 episodes or 3 episodes or 5 episodes and then poof, gone, because it doesn't make enough money yet for the streamers, which sucks.
Pretty much.
Yeah. I love the modern day technology, folks, but I miss the old ways that TV was. I just do. I miss 2009, 2010, honestly, when Netflix will just drop a whole season on us instead of season 1, part 1 with 6 episodes and season 1, part 2 with another. No, give it to me now. Especially if I'm paying your prices now. You're charging me $30-something a month for premium? Nope. Oh boy, Netflix. Give me a break. Give me a break. Break me off face. Oh, sorry. Kit Kat's in my brain. All right. That's all, folks. Steve, any final thoughts? And where can the people find you on social media?
They can find me on the Twitters, because I refuse to say X.
You just said
SCP-21. Yes, but I didn't say at SCP-21 on the platform.
Mm-hmm.
But so they can find me on there. They can find me on Instagram, Threads, or Blue Sky at Steve Phillips VO.
Very cool, very cool. Yeah. Batman Mask of the Phantasm, folks. 30th anniversary 4K release. Go get it. Go watch it. You won't be disappointed at all. So for me, I am TFG1Mike on Twitter, at TFG1Mike Presents on Threads and Instagram and all that good stuff. For now, I'm TFG1Mike with
Steve Megatron.
You'll hear us back in the studio soon.
It's true. I love her.
Thank you for joining us inside the studio. If you'd like to get in contact with us or leave feedback for the show, there are several ways to do so. Visit the website, geekcastradio.com, where you can listen to and comment on all of our content. Send an email to feedback@geekcastradio.com. Here are all the ways you can listen to us nowadays. Apple and Google Podcasts. Leave us reviews, please. Spotify and any other podcatching client you choose to use. Follow us on X at Geekcast Radio for the network, at It's Studio 2009 for the show. Become a fan on Facebook. Go to facebook.com/Geekcast Radio Network and Studio 2009 Podcast over there as well. Join us next time when we'll be talking about something in the audio or visual realm here inside Studio 2009, only on the Geekcast Radio Network.